The App Store is dead, and the founders killing it aren't engineers. Right now, a robotics PhD who walked away from one of the most prestigious universities in the world, ETH Zurich, is handing every non-technical founder on the planet a superpower. And the scariest part, it takes 3 prompts. If you've been agonizing over which SaaS tool to use, or paying for software with paywalls you never asked for, handing your data to companies you don't trust, one team just built a working password manager faster than their colleagues could agree on which one to download. You could spin up a fully native mobile MVP for a new product feature, test it with real users through a shareable link, no app store, no test flight, no invite codes, and if users love it, sync it straight to your GitHub repo and fold it into your main code base. You go from idea to validation without a single engineer on the payroll. This is what democratization actually looks like. Not a buzzword, a kid in India with a phone and idea building software that competes with yours. So if the barrier to building your idea is now just your imagination, what have you been waiting for? And is the real obstacle the technology or the story you've been telling yourself about who gets to build? Welcome to AI for Founders, I'm Ryan Estes. My guest today is David Alonso, co-founder of Bloom, the tool that lets you build, deploy, and share native mobile apps from your phone without writing a single line of code. This one is for the non-technical founder who knows exactly what they want to build but thought they needed a team of engineers to build it. You're about to find out you were wrong. And when you have the chance, head over to aiforfounders.co and get the AI strategies, tools, and founder moves that your competitors are hoping you'll never find out about from the newsletter. This is the weekly edge you didn't know you were missing. Show up to the game more prepared than everyone else in the room. If this episode cracks something open for you, drop us a 5-star review because somewhere out there, a founder needs to hear exactly what you just heard. And finally, if you want to get booked on podcasts just like this one and get your story in front of the audiences that matter, check out kitcaster.com. Kitcaster is a premier podcast booking agency that matches founders, executives, and experts with the right shows to grow their brand and their business. They handle the pitching, the placement, and the strategy so you can stay focused on building. Go to kitcaster.com, start showing up where your next customer is already listening. That's Kitcaster by Moburst. David, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Really excited about your product, and your story is incredible. The tool is called Bloom, and kind of from the hero image, it says, go from idea to native mobile app on your phone without writing a single line of code. So give us the overview of Bloom and the vision for where it's going.
Yeah. So Bloom is basically the easiest and fastest way to build a mobile app, and not only build it, but share it. And so the way it works is once we launch our mobile app in a few weeks, you'll be able to download the mobile app on your phone, literally type any idea that you have or speak into your phone. And a few minutes later, you'll have a working app, with authentication, a full backend, APIs, whatever you want, that's running natively on your phone, which means it has haptics, it has access to HealthKit, it has access to other native APIs. And best of all, you're able to share that app with anyone instantly without having to get an Apple developer account, push a build to test flight, send an invite code, have other people download test flight. They'll be able to use our app clip to basically sideload that app on their phone without any setup.
Incredible.
And where we want to go with this, well, we're basically lowering the barrier to entry of software creation. And we think that software is the ultimate form of creative expression because it's like a superset of media, right? And we've seen what media democratization has unlocked through the creator economy that we know today. And so we hope something like Bloom will be something like YouTube, but on steroids, or something like Notion on steroids. It'll allow everyone to create things that we can't even imagine right now.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So when you say mobile apps, is this like creating like apps for iOS or Android marketplaces, or is it kind of bypassing that?
Yeah, so what our technology stack rests upon is Expo as a front-end framework, and then Convex for the back-end. And so the nice thing about Expo is that it allows us to write one code base for all platforms, web, Android, and iOS, And so yeah, that's the power of Bloom, that you can have our coding agent build an app for you, and then you can deploy it to web. You can deploy it to the App Store or the Play Store, or you can share it within the Bloom ecosystem through this app clip, which is an instant way of sharing it.
Let's talk about that. The app click. What you're
Yeah.
sharing an app. What does that look like?
Yeah. So I'll just try to share this part of it because I'm now on the Bloom beta early access, and so I have the Bloom app here on my phone, and you can see that it's basically a meta app, right? It's an app that I'm building that's inside the Bloom app, and I can just go in and out of this app like this, and then I can build the app through this chat in here. And then once I have this app in here that is a fully native app running on my phone, I can just share it through this button here, the share button. Let's see what it. Yeah, and then this is basically just a single link that I can send to anyone. I can drop it in a WhatsApp group, and then when people press on that link, it'll open an app clip modal. And this is like an iOS feature from Apple that has been highly underutilized in the last years, and this is a killer use case for it because it basically allows you to load a native app on your phone without having to go to the App Store to install it, right? And so the app clip gets loaded on your phone, and then we sideload this individual app on that app clip, and it basically behaves like a native app running on your phone.
Incredible. Okay, let's talk about the kind of apps that you're excited about people building, that people have built it right now, and kind of what's the outer limits. So what would be a great app to build with Bloom?
Yeah, so there's many different types of use cases and different types of users that are using Bloom right now. One of them is like the personal software use case, right? So I use Bloom to build all kinds of personal apps, whether they're like to-do apps or fitness apps or budget apps or apps that I guess one of the sweet spots is anything that is multiplayer that really benefits from having real-time sync between devices will really do well on Bloom. You can build that in one prompt without any setup, right? Because the backend comes out of the box. So if I want to build an app to track expenses with my girlfriend or to do groceries with my flatmates or something, Bloom would be perfect because in one prompt I can have something that works, I can share with them, and then whenever I'm using the app and entering items, it'll like instantly update on their phones, like no refresh or out of sync stuff. It all just works. And then there's another category of users who are building more like startup-y type apps, right? So they're trying to build things that would have users. And I guess that's mostly your audience. So founder types or non-technical entrepreneurs really love using Bloom. And we've seen, people build like pretty complicated apps with like many pages, Google OAuth, different APIs that are being orchestrated, and of course, like a full backend to persist data. So like complex planning apps travel planning apps that take a simple destination and a bunch of requirements for a trip or preferences, and then do a full full trip plan with different APIs for flights, different APIs for hotels, and of course like an AI that stitches everything together into like an actual plan per day. But I've seen so many other apps of this style being made. And then the other user is like companies that want to prototype quickly. And so they would build parts of their product on Bloom as prototypes, so that they're able to quickly to like narrow this iteration loop with their users instead of having to go through test flight. So they'll just build something on the Bloom web app or on the Bloom mobile app, send it to users. And I mean, honestly, once you share an app clip with someone, you basically have hot reload. So if I make a change to the app, it'll like almost instantly update on their phones as well, which is like unheard of for iOS development.
Cool. Yeah, this sounds like really novel use cases for small groups. So basically, you can create apps for small groups of people. I mean, of course, it could be large, but then you can kind of custom tailor the needs for the app, kind of as you see fit, and where I see this as being like, reducing friction is, now if you're trying to do a party planning app or you're trying to do a communication app, there's always going to be like logins and two-part authentications, and then there's email notifications from the app, and just like there's so many like steps. But if it's like, no, 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 all we want to do is be able to track expenses. We want to make sure that groceries are getting taken care of. We want to share pictures with each other in the one place. So you're creating kind of a small group experience, or you could potentially within that group.
Yeah. I mean, this is the part that gets me really excited. It's that when some of our users like get it, like they build one or two apps, they get over this like mental way of thinking that we're so used to of like, oh, I want to solve a problem, I need to find an app for that. And it switches to being like, no, I'm just gonna build an app for that, right? And yeah, the examples that you gave are perfect. We use Bloom internally to replace so much SaaS. Like it's crazy. Like we were at some point, I remember there were some people in our team trying to find like a password manager to use. And at the same time, there was someone in the team that was building a password manager in Bloom, and they got something working faster than we could decide which password manager to use. So, and it was secure. Like it was a password manager he had built, that used Google authentication, which comes out of the box with Bloom. He had prompted it so that it would only allow people with our domain to sign in, and all of that worked in one shot. So yeah, he had something working in like a few minutes, and it did the job. And I think for your audience, what we're really excited is moving past the stage where Bloom is a platform where you build your user-facing apps to a founder operating system, like a place where your user app lives, but also all the internal tooling that you have around it. And at some point, that might include virtual employees that are doing operations for your business and things like that.
Love it. Yeah, for founders, there's so many applications, right? Because man, you really hit the nail on the head there. It's like figuring out which one you want to use is also, and then you got to figure out how you're going to use it, because there's so much bloat, so, for example, if you need like a time tracking app, it seems like a perfect way. You could just do it internally, very simply, like, well, hey, what do I really want to see from a time tracking app? These 3 metrics, boom, 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 put it together, share it with your team. It's done.
We actually have someone, like one of our interns was doing that. Like, yeah, they just built an app for themselves in Bloom that was like allowing them to track their hours, because it's just so annoying, yeah, to go and like try to figure out what an app does before you go through the sign-in flow, and then always have this anxiety of like, oh, when's the paywall gonna show up, and am I locked in, because like I can't get this data out of here easily. With Bloom, you just have access to everything. You have access to the code, you have access to the data that your app is storing, right? And you can always make changes to it. So, I think that's just the way of the future. Most companies are gonna generate most of the apps that they use.
Yeah. Amazing. And this is native mobile first. What was the kind of reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so my co-founder and I had built several mobile apps before, for ourselves, for our own startups, and then for clients as well, as part of an agency. And yeah, so we really understood the pain very well of going from like the huge delay between having an idea and then having that idea in the hands of a user. For our first mobile product, it took us like 4 months to actually have like our idea in like on somebody else's phone, which is just crazy. And so we wanted to narrow that. And we also thought, if we are going to have a creator economy for software, well, what's the most accessible way to make software creation available to everyone? And it's obviously the phone, right?
Yeah.
Because that's also how TikTok and Snapchat and other modern creator economy tools operate, is mostly from your phone. And so, yeah, like that was basically it. We just thought, what if you could talk into your phone and your ideas would come to life in a few seconds, or you could draw something on your phone screen and then it would turn into a fully functional UI. And that just seemed too appealing not to go after. So Once we figured out, okay, Expo can do side loading of apps, so you can get full bundles into an app. And then we figured out app clips have a size that allows us to have a base app in there that is like big enough to support this use case. Because initially app clips were like 10 megabytes, now they're 100 megabytes in size. Yeah, then it all clicked for us.
Yeah. I mean, the TAM for for mobile phones is what, 7 billion?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it makes
I mean,
sense. This episode is brought to you by a dangerous idea. It's called reading, specifically the AI for Founders newsletter. 47,000 founders strong now, and it's the good stuff. No top 10 AI tools that will change your life written by someone who doesn't ship product. It's just real breakdowns of what's actually working in AI. Who's raised, who failed, who pivoted, and which founders quietly built $1 million in ARR while everyone else was arguing on X. It's written for people building with AI. Every week you get tactical frameworks, unfair advantages, breakdowns of real companies, and the occasional existential question about whether your startup is intelligent or just well-branded. It's free, it's sharp, it might mildly offend your current workflow. Go to aiforfounders.co and subscribe before your competitor does. Because the only thing worse than being replaced by AI is being replaced by a founder who reads. That's the newsletter at aiforfounders.co. Now back to the show.
And it's like also, I think one of the things that I really find exciting about this is, and we haven't really seen this yet. We also haven't launched our Android app, but when we do, I mean, that's going to be very rewarding for me because the amount of people in developing countries that have no access to a laptop and run their whole lives from their phone is just huge. Like there's several examples of some of our users that have told us that they learned to code from their phone, you know?
Yeah.
So imagine giving this power of creating any kind of custom software from your phone in such an accessible way to all these like people in developing countries. I mean, that motivates me a lot as well.
100%. I mean, you talk about democratization. I mean, that like puts so much human capital into play that haven't had access to that, you know, and that's the thing about like privilege, just being born into America. It's like, boy, man, you kind of hit the jackpot, you know. If you happen to just be born in the middle of India, you know, like you're at such a disadvantage, but now you've got a phone and it doesn't take anything away from their IQ and their ability to create and their ability to, you know, now deploy technology that potentially could change the world. And I think what's so interesting about this stuff too is we just don't know what we don't know. You know, I'm just thinking of like time tracking apps. I'm really still thinking inside the box. But as you've, you know, you can see with like kind of OpenClaw and like all the stuff that's coming out now, it's like, okay, there's going to be whole new flavors of app development that we haven't even considered yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I don't think when the YouTube founders put out the first version of YouTube, I don't think they imagined that vlogging would become like a media format. And so with this, it's even harder, I think, to predict like, yeah, the types of new apps that will exist. It's just because the creativity ceiling is just so much higher than with media, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I really like this idea of sharing personally designed apps without kind of a centralized marketplace. You know, the trend right now is looking kind of bleak as far as like privacy and like just this kind of Orwellian Gestapo weirdness that's kind of happening from the tech oligarchies right now. It's a little bit like concerning, you know, like truly you're like kind of seeing this trend. It's like, boy, these guys are really feeling themselves of like kind of stripping us of our kind of inalienable rights one by one right in front of us. You know, I really don't think that it's going to fly. And ultimately, I think that what it is it's like tools like this emerge where people jump on them immediately and abandon kind of this like weird big brother energy, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It feels like, I mean, now there's this battle there's battle for attention on the one hand, and then there's a battle for your personal data, right? From all these like chatbot companies that of course get better the more context they have and the more memories they have. But yeah, in the end, you are having to pick like who you're giving your data to or your attention to. And I just think, I mean, I'm a techie, so obviously for me it's more obvious to feel this way. I wonder if it's gonna become a main spread preference, but for me, my preference is obviously to build a bunch of personal apps, to build like my own personal ChatGPT, and to have that data all owned by me, right? It's like you have this one database and you have a bunch of apps attached to it, and it's your time tracking apps, it's your habit tracking apps, your to-do apps, your personal assistant, and it's all connected to one database that you own, that you have access to. You can like have full introspection into what this assistant is doing with your data, into what data is actually being stored, and yeah, and that app is private to you, and you can share it with some people if you want. But yeah, I
Love
also
that.
think that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of spooky right now. You know what I mean? There's like face tracking apps finding people, and I mean, um, it's just intolerable, I think, to most people, and especially as it evolves. And what I love about technology is it's always two steps ahead. So, I think something like this could really catch fire in kind of a grassroots kind of situation. I mean, I'm just sitting here, I'm having a hard time track the conversation because I'm like, oh, you know what? I do want an app where I can put all my TikTok recipes. You know what I mean?
Honestly, yeah. Once you start thinking in this way, you just see it everywhere. And it's yeah. I just think like it's also so powerful because now everything is kind of segregated, right? You have like one app for XYZ that's storing some of your data in this warehouse, and then there's another app that's storing some of your data somewhere else. Um, with this, if you're able to build like your ecosystem, your garden of apps, right? Because it's about Bloom. If you have your garden of apps and it's all connected to one database that you control, that you have access to, the power that unlocks is huge as well, because then you're able to merge your workout data or your health data, right, with your the app that you use to, I don't know, track expenses or to track like your meals or any other things like that. And so, yeah. And then, of course, if you have a personal assistant or something like that, or your own Claude bot or something like that, it has access to, of course, all the data that you're storing through all these different personal apps. So yeah, and of course that's for the personal use case, but then there's companies as well, right? That have similar needs of, okay, I have my tax data in this one platform that I use for taxes, and I have some documents stored in there, and then I have another like password manager thing here, and then I have my user facing app there, and like you have all these different places for your data. Yeah, I think we're moving to a world where you can just build a bunch of internal tools and internal apps that are all connected to the same database. So
Well,
yeah.
okay, here's an app idea just to test maybe the potential. So I want a DJ app that's going to select and play music during my workday. And the way I want it to select the music is through my phone. I want it to watch my face, and based on sentiment analysis, basically seeing, am I smiling, am I frowning, am I neutral? It will play music to match my emotion on my face through Spotify. Could I build an app like that on Bloom?
Um, I think the question is in how many prompts you'd be able to build it. But you would for sure be able to build it. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that we have is API provisioning. So I think we have the Spotify API in there, which means like we want to make it super easy for you to get something like this to work without having to grab an API key from somewhere. I'm trying to figure out the trickiest parts here, because essentially you would want to open this app that it like is able to like see your face, and then from that go and like pick a song to play, or a song from one of your existing playlists or something. Would you want it to be connected to your Spotify, or how? Yeah. What about the
Yeah,
details
maybe
there?
I would have a list of like, okay, here's are what happy songs might be. Here's what neutral songs. Here's what like uh melancholic songs might be, and then it just could randomize them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's totally possible.
Cool.
Yeah, the question is again how long and or how many prompts, and we are working as hard as we can to like bring that number down so that more people can get that aha moment quickly.
Neat. Okay. And that kind of brings us to kind of the pricing model. So you're kind of moved to a subscription model. You kind of have a good, better, best pro. You know, the starter is about 20 bucks a month, which seems to be about on par with kind of, you know, AI tools right now. And it's based on a credit system, which is also kind of a usage rate, which I think is also kind of unique to AI. So the starter pack comes with 3,500 credits per month. How are the 3,500 credits managed? Is it like 5 credits per prompt, or are some prompts weighted more heavily?
Yeah, so you will consume credits purely on a usage basis. So if you ask for Bloom to build something really complex, it'll use more credits. If you just have to make a little fix somewhere, it'll be, you know, a tiny amount of credits that are used. Um, for like with the free amount of credits, 350, you are able to get um, simple versions of apps to work. So you're able to get something like an AI powered app with Google authentication to work. If it's like a simple, you know, AI powered app that just makes some calls to an LLM and stores a response or does some CRUD operations, you know, if you want to like track your habits or do something like that, that is all feasible in the free credits and the allowance of the free plan. And then from there, you can just go and do more complex things. The credits can also be used. You can also, by the way, top up credits, so you don't have to only buy a subscription. You can also not have a subscription and just buy top ups. That's also something that a lot of users do. Um, the thing for pro users that is really appealing about the subscription is the two-way GitHub sync, because then you can have, you know, you can build like the first version of Bloom really quickly, and then you can have non-technical people in your team continue using Bloom, but you might push code to this repository through other tools that you use, like Cloud Code or something.
Yep.
And yeah, so usage of credits will come from making changes to your app, but also if you're, for instance, using the provisioned API keys that we have instead of using your own, then that will also consume credits, right? So if you have an app that is generating videos, initially that will just work out of the box because it'll use our API keys. You can, of course, always enter yours. But yeah, and then the last one is usage on the backend, right? So if your app takes off and goes viral and a bunch of users start using it, obviously that traffic will be something that we incur because we provision backends for you by default. We're soon going to have the option for you to also bring your own like convex deployment, so you even have more control. But yeah, those are like that's kind of the business model.
Cool. I love it. So, you know, a great use case might be like, let's say I'm working on a tool. We're building with Claude Code and using Cursor, but we want to be able to create fast MVPs for new features, and we're going to use Bloom. So we'll start spinning new features, creating MVPs, testing with Bloom. If something sticks, then boom, we add it to the repo, and then we can bring it in with Claude and add it to the app. Would that be like a good way to use it for kind of an existing code base?
Yeah. That's a great way of using it. Yeah, you own the code, right? So you can sync it to GitHub, or you can download the code as a zip whenever you want. So yeah.
Okay. Let's say I spent 2 months on the pro plan, cranking it out, really get something good where we like it. Could I then drop back down to the free plan and it's still deployed and still functional?
Yeah, you will lose access to some of the pro features like GitHub sync. If you go back to the free plan, it's not like your code will be deleted or your repo will be deleted, but
Sure.
you won't be able to push changes after or pull changes. But yeah, like your code will be there. The app will continue running, and then you can, of course, still continue to top up if you are using our APIs or you want to continue making edits to the app.
Amazing. Awesome, dude. What a great tool. Now, I know that you guys have recently completed YC and you raised 3.5 million. Now, this is a pretty competitive category now. If you're thinking about like Lovable and Bolt and Replit, our Claude Code, for example, when as you're kind of moving through Y Combinator, I know you closed before demo day. What was kind of the confidence that they saw that, hey, Bloom has actually got some blue ocean here? Like, what makes you guys stand out to kind of your closest competitors?
Yeah. So I think the main thing I would say is we are opinionated and we are opinionated on the right foundations, I think. So there's on the front end side, we are opinionated on Expo, and Expo is great because it gives us the power to build universal apps, right? So apps for web, iOS, and Android. And that's something that on Lovable you won't be able to do, for instance. And on Replit, you will be able to do, but it's like their level of abstraction is lower. So you have, you don't have as much opinionation, which means you have to make a lot more decisions about what stack to use. And that's something that for Bloom, you don't have to think about. And that also allows us to make the product better because the agent has very clear guidelines on what guardrails to, like it has a bunch of guardrails and harnesses that other platforms cannot have, right? Because on Cursor or on Cloud Code, you can just build on any stack that you want. On Replit, I think they have some backend that they're opinionated on, but you can also use other backends. So it's like it's a bit more opinionated than Cloud Code, but less opinionated than Bloom. For the backend, our opinionation is Convex, which is one of the hottest backend as a service right now. It's like started to pop off in the last few months. The standard that everyone was using is Supabase. And so Lovable, I don't know about Replit. Replit might use their own Postgres database somewhere, but our opinionation is Convex, and it's something that is a bit hard to explain quickly, but Convex is just miles ahead, I would say, than other backends as a service. And I think if you're not a developer, it might be hard to understand. But if you start using Bloom, you will see why it's easier to get like more complex features working on Bloom than on other platforms. And a lot of it comes from our opinionation and the fact that Convex is already like a very good foundation to build with. So like this real-time sync between devices, is something that Bloom is able to build super easily. And that's something not very easy to get to work on other platforms, for instance.
That's a big bet on that product. What influenced that decision, especially when everybody else is using Supabase?
Yeah, so we were power users of Convex, so we used it on our previous product and loved it so much. We were coming from Firebase before, and yeah, it was an instant sell for us. It's basically you don't have to worry about sync. It's completely type safe. Everything is specified in code, and it's built by an incredible team. The CEO of Convex is actually one of our angel investors. And we won like the first full stack hackathon on Convex with our previous product, which was like a Notion UI for Firestore data. And so, yeah, we were just, at that point, we had a lot of conviction and many people did not even know about Convex. So that definitely gave us an edge. But aside from that, like when we were going through IC and raising a round, we were the first ones to be doing this. Like we were the first ones to get an app clip, to like to do this sharing experience through an app clip that never existed before. So like when we were doing demos during fundraising week, like investors were just like blown away and they were making intros to all their investor friends saying, this is the best tech demo I've ever seen, because it was like, holy shit, like he just showed me a mobile app on the web app. He just gave me a link and now I have this native app running on my phone. And when I add an item to this grocery list, like it appears on their database and on their phones as well. And like, that was built in 3 prompts. Like what? Yeah. So that, yeah, we were definitely the first ones to do a bunch of these things, and we're just trying to keep up with the speed of this space.
It's incredible. I mean, it really is so cool. I'm stoked. My daughter's in college, maybe 9 hours away. So and I've been working with her on like vibe coding a bunch of different tools and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to playing with her, and seeing like how we can like exchange tools. It's incredible. Now, this is very early. I don't think you guys have even officially launched yet. I feel very lucky that I'm able to talk to you at this point because it's rare that I find somebody kind of before the actual true launch of the product. So it's super fun for me. And I want to give a shout out to Kevin from Snipped for making the intro and making this happen. Love Snipped. Also, super cool app. Now, what I want to ask is, as you're approaching go-to-market, like, what's your strategy? How are you going to get this in people's hands?
Yeah. So we haven't had that many issues with top of funnel. Like a lot of it has been like most of our marketing, top of funnel has come from other people doing marketing for us, like that we haven't even asked for. So we've been in early access for the last months, and yeah, like there's been a few viral moments where we just didn't plan something, but then some big account on Instagram posted like a video about us, and that went kind of viral, and then a bunch of users came in and tried the product. But now we're gearing up for the official launch, as you said, which is timed with the launch of the mobile app. And honestly, most of what I want to do is have growth come from product-led growth, right? So you build an app, you're absolutely blown away. You tell all your friends about it. You share that app with your friends until it gets into the hands of someone that's really influential. Like if this gets into the hands of a Justin Bieber, a Hailey Bieber, I don't know, like a big YouTuber, whatever it is, then obviously like this would be huge, right? Just imagine like a Taylor Swift concert where there's a QR code and it leads to an app clip, right? And it's an app that Taylor Swift built herself that allows people at the concert venue to interact with each other and to get haptic feedback on their phone when something in the concert is happening, right? Like, just imagine, like, there's going to be moments like this that I think are going to be the biggest levers that we're going to have for growth. So, yeah, I'm mostly thinking about that. Most of our marketing spend is going towards those free credits that allow people to build a simple app for free and get to that aha moment. But I mean, we're gonna see. Like, I don't have it all figured out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pressure in product-led growth, right? That it does just happen to fall in the right people's hands, and they do just happen to do it. Is there anything like more aggressive that you're considering? Aside from the podcast, which is going to blow you up, AI for Founders Lift incoming.
Yeah. So what we want to make sure is that we do have like a fire going, and the users that are on the platform are staying and are getting a lot of value from the product. And then if that's happening, then yeah, we can add fuel to the fire in many ways. We can obviously do the standard UGC programs and other marketing campaigns or even ads. But I don't know. I think the hard part for us is to build a product that really blows people's socks off. And the cool thing is that there are a lot of socks to be blown off. This is a first for many people. Like, many people have no idea that this is even close to possible, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting in the UI. So maybe the challenge is time to value. One problem with like, hey, you can build whatever you want here is you're starting with a blank page. And like the blank page can be very intimidating. I had a great conversation with Siggy from Overtune. And Overtune is like a beat making software that you actually own the rights to. So you can like record demos. You can make recordings and publish them, and you own the recording. Really cool. But one thing they do is like when you kind of show up, it has a whole song sequenced for you. So when you hit play, then you can start playing with it. I wonder if there are like core apps that people will use, and I know what they are. They're task lists and their workout trackers, and builders. I wonder if like when people are on board, it's like, hey, customize your own personal workout, and then they can go in there, make a couple of decisions, and then it builds the app for them and gets them into the into the
Yeah.
feeling that they're not intimidated by the blank page.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Actually, my co-founder is currently working on the onboarding experience, so I should pass those ideas to him. Uh, but I agree with you, and we definitely are going to have a templates marketplace or a showcase page that makes it very easy for people to get a sense of what's possible. Um, but yeah, I am really curious what like the ideal onboarding experience is like. Is it like a chat where it's very conversational at first and it just wants to get to know what what you might want to build, whether it's like for a company or for your own personal use case, and then it just presents like a bunch of starting points, and then yeah, you go from there.
Yeah.
um
No, it's cool. I'm playing with it now as we're talking, and one thing I really like that it's doing is it's taking my initial idea and then it's asking me questions to make it better, but it's also asking me A, B, C, or all questions, so I don't have to type. I can just click. I think
yeah,
some of the best UIs right now are almost like surveys where, because I'm lazy. I don't want to type something out. I just want to hit buttons. So it's like the faster I'm hitting buttons and it's making decisions, I'm like, oh wow, I'm really doing it here. I think,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think the cool thing also about Bloom that is not really visible right now is that the collaboration experience is going to be really, really great.
yeah,
So collaboration with your team, but also collaboration across devices. Like right now, if you had the mobile app, you would basically see like the stream happening in real time. So if you send a message from your phone, you will see it in real time streaming on the web as well. And any of your teammates in that workspace will see exactly like the same synced state. Um, and so, yeah, you could like send a prompt from the web, but then you're on the go, and then Bloom asks you some questions, and then you can answer those questions in the UI on mobile, right? Like you would be able to do that survey on mobile, and it's all synced. So, yeah.
yeah. No, and the fun part too about like being able to create it is you can like hack it and make it the way you want it. So you were talking about remixing projects. If there's a bullpen of other people's projects where you're like, I like that, but I want to make the UI look like a werewolf pirate, and that's the way I want to look at my workout routine planner is for werewolf pirates. It's like, back in the day when we had MySpace, you could hack all the HTML and you could customize your page and you could make it really fun. And it's actually what kind of got me into programming is like, I was like, oh, cool. You can do these different things. And we've really
Right.
gotten away from that. They've really kind of taken the tools out of people's hands. But now,
Yeah.
you can really experiment with stuff. And, now as I'm kind of coding different things and it's falling out of favor with me and I'm like, I'm sick of this. Then I'll start really just like smashing it up with like weird ideas just because why not?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fun
Yeah. Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, no, I think that's gonna be super, super powerful. And that's again another thing where yeah, you will never feel that lock-in if you're using like instead of finding a software that already exists, you would just ask Bloom, hey, I want to solve this problem, and then Bloom will find like existing templates that you can go off of to solve that problem, and then you'll never be locked in with the feature set of the template because you can always add stuff to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. David, I want to talk about you personally. Some people have said that you are crazy. You're a madman. You're ridiculous. Largely because you were at the tip of the spear at ETH Zurich, studying robotics and pursuing a career in robotics and pivoted into startups. Why'd you make the change?
Yeah. Yeah, I am like a pretty obsessive person. So if I get obsessed about something, I just go all in. And right now that obsession is Bloom. But at the time my obsession was robotics, and I was really into self-driving cars and quadrupeds and humanoids and doing reinforcement learning research and things like that. But then one of the other things that is constant about me is that I love learning. And so at that time, I was trying to learn about app development. And I just got super hooked by it. Like, I just really love the tight feedback cycle, right? Like the hot reload effect where you change something and you instantly see what that change does or what it looks like. And yeah, and then I met my co-founder around that time. he's one of the best designers that I know, and everyone that goes and checks out Bloom will instantly be able to see the quality of his work. Um, and yeah, we were a great match because I'm more on the back end agent infrastructure engineering side, and he's more of a design engineer. And so yeah, it also became super addicting to work together with him. And that's how we stuck together and kept going through different pivots and investor rejections and all of that.
Yeah, yeah, it's brutal being a founder. Now, having somebody who's so closely acquainted with the future of robotics, can you give us any insights of what the next 12 to 24 months are going to look like? Are we going to see humanoid rollouts on a massive scale from Tesla and all this thing like they're kind of talking about? You are about to spend anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000 on your kid's college education, and that's not a small bet. And right now, there's a very real chance that they graduate and can't find a job, not because they weren't smart enough, not because they didn't work hard enough, but because the job market changed and nobody told them. Employers are hiring AI native candidates, people who don't just know their field, but know how to work with AI at a professional level. And most colleges are not teaching this, not even close. AInativestudent.com is the program that fills that gap. It takes high school and college students and teaches them how to actually think and work with AI the way top companies expect on day one, so your investment in their degree actually pays off. You're already paying for tuition, housing, textbooks. This is the one thing that actually makes it all worth it. Go to AInativestudent.com because a diploma is a starting point. Being AI native is what gets them hired. That's AInativestudent.com.
To be honest, I know I have a robotics master's degree, but I don't feel entitled to like make predictions on that because it's like I have been out of the robotics scene for a while and it's moving so fast that I mean, I had some batchmates in YC that were doing robotic startups, and I know some of them were doing like general robot learning companies where robots will be able to learn from examples. And I had other batchmates that were doing like robotics in labs for research, right? Research acceleration, which is super exciting. On the humanoid front, I mean, I know almost what you know. Like I've seen these demos of all these different companies that are trying to do robots for home. And I mean, the only thing I can say is that the long tail in robotics is where the difficulty is. And we've seen that with self-driving, right? Like in 2015, people were already predicting that we were like so close to having like fully self-driving cars in cities, like exclusively. And yeah, I think it's just that long tail of interactions in the high dimensional physical world is so tricky to get right. And for robots operating at home, I think that's also the case. But I might be wrong. I again, I don't feel super entitled to stuff. Yeah.
Nice, man. Thank you for that. We're ready to enter the quantum zone. Are you ready?
Yeah, please. I'm so ready.
What's a savory failure that you'd like to share? Something that went horribly wrong and made you reevaluate your life decisions?
So any time in my life or like recent?
Oh, anytime. It could be anything. More humiliating and embarrassing, the better.
Oh, I wish I would have gotten this one first because I have not thought about this in a while. I think I'm mostly trying to grapple with the failures of the day to day and like trying to get enough done and like hire the right people, and I'm not spending a lot of time reflecting about like my life failures. So
no problem. We'll skip it. Speaking of hiring, how big's the team?
Yeah, right now we're about 5 people, but it's changing rapidly. We have a bunch of people on trial. It's a very interesting time to be hiring, right? Because what do you hire for? What skills are going to become obsolete in a few months? Yeah, and then of course, like the bar is so high for talent at the moment, given the difference between someone that is excellent and someone that is good. Because now an excellent person has like so much leverage to like spread that excellence or like multiply that excellence with hundreds of coding agents. That's on the engineering side, of course. Um, so yeah, we're about 5 people, um, hiring for excellence, not quantity of people. You know, the bottleneck is not how many lines of code you have to write anymore. That
Yeah.
used to be a thing, but not anymore. It's taste.
Incredible. How are you using LLMs personally in your personal life? And then what's a favorite product you have right now, digital or otherwise?
Um, yeah, I'm mostly using LLMs for coding, 100%. So like I spend my day in Cursor right now. Um, One of the really exciting things that we have on the roadmap is to start building Bloom inside Bloom, right? And then I hope to be spending most of my day in Bloom building Bloom. Uh, and then of course with the launch of the mobile app and having early access to this test flight app, I'm also spending a lot of time building like all kinds of personal apps, and trying to find the limits of Bloom. But that's going to become so much more powerful in the next few months as we make improvements to our agent and as we allow you to create this like garden of apps that is connected to a data source. So yeah, super stoked about that.
Amazing. If you were to go to university today, what would you study?
Yeah, that's such a good one. Oh my God. I would have a bit of an existential crisis, first of all. Uh, so I might study psychology, but I, I honestly, I think computer science, maths, I don't know, like I think the ability to think um, about hard problems is still going to be super useful. And so I would probably be doing that, but I most likely would not go to university. I would just start to build and learn. Um, I guess it depends. Like, if you want to found a startup, one of the best things that a university gives you is a pool of co-founders, right? And so
Yeah.
that would probably be the biggest reason that I would go to a university is, if I was able to get into a good university, is to find people of high caliber that I would work with or I would hire in the future. Um, Aside from that, I would want to make sure that, yeah, like I'm going to be able to learn at a fast speed, and that a fixed curriculum is not going to hold me back. I just don't like the way of learning where it's also prescriptive, you know, like here's a list of things that you have to know. I find it way more exciting when people learn as they find problems they have to solve. And with AI now, that's easier than ever, right? So yeah.
Cool.
I don't know what universities are going to look like, honestly, in the long term. Like, I think the human aspect is really useful still, like bringing together people that are excited about the same thing and that are at the same intellectual level. But does it become something where it's more challenge based? It's like, hey, this group of people, here's a challenge, like an actual challenge in the real world, you know? Go solve it and get supervision from someone experienced in the field, maybe. But like this way of learning as you do things.
Yeah. The idea of sitting in a classroom and listening to one human talk for 90 minutes, I mean, already seems like super passe, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
David,
I'm so there's like, oh wow, there we
yeah.
go.
Hey, this has been amazing. I want to give a quick demo of what I built while we were talking.
Yeah,
So,
nice,
so what I did is I just put in 2 words, caffeine tracker. That was my prompt. It asked me a
nice.
series of maybe 5 or 6 ABC questions. I just kind of tapped it out, and this is what it put together. Incredible in about 3 minutes. So
You
check
press
this.
on the. Can you press on that? Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly.
and this is a problem I've had. A kind of an insight I had this weekend is that like I'm just getting too sauced on coffee. Like if I'll make myself like 3 lattes during the day, and I'm completely like geeked out, and
Yeah,
it's too much. So I'm like, okay, I want to slow the pace down. So here
yeah.
this morning I could choose between coffee or tea or energy drinks or sodas. Let's see, coffee. What I had this morning, I had 75 milligrams. So that's given me the one drink today. I've got 125 milligrams left if I want to be on that 200. So that's great. I can have maybe another half cup. You know,
Yeah.
it gave me. You can set your limit here. This is all intuitive. I didn't ask it to do this. It gives me kind of like a 7 day
Wow.
readout of what's going on,
Yeah.
an FDA
Yeah.
recommendation. Incredible. So cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the super powerful thing about this is that it's not a fixed UI, right? Like at any point you can make changes to this, and you own all of this data. Like, so if you go to the panel on the left on the sidebar, that's there. And then you go to the table, like the sidebar there that looks like a table. Yep. Yeah. It said data. No. You were hovering. Yes. Yeah, you can see that all of this data that is populating the app is actually stored in this database, and you can change it at any point. And if you go to the tables thing on the left, it's not really visible. It's like slightly to the right. I wish I could like annotate your screen. Slightly below. No. Yeah, data, and then to the right of this sidebar.
Tables?
Go down. Yes, it's so hidden. We need to update that. Yeah, you can go to your intakes, and all of that. Yeah, all of the data that you see in the app is now there. And if you can, like go to intakes and change the number from 75 to 80 or something.
Yeah.
And now look at the UI. Boom.
Wow. So you can fit through the tables in real time. That's incredible.
Yeah. And now the coolest part, like press on preview on device on the top right. So now I'm gonna open this QR code on my phone as well. One second. So for you, since you don't have the Bloom app, it'll open in an app clip, right? And you will see what that experience looks like. So anyone with an iPhone would be able to open the app at the speed that you're opening it. I can show you that I already have the app on my phone with all the data synced, right?
So cool.
Yeah. So that's how fast it is.
Yeah.
To go from an idea to having other people with your app on their phones. And so I can add something now. I mean, I know that if you wanted to make this shareable, you would add authentication to have multiple users. But let me add an Americano. And now just go back to the web app and you'll see the data has updated. Yeah, you see the Americano is there. And
nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Oh, that's the power of Bloom. Like
wow. David, incredible. Congratulations. Everybody, you go check out Bloom. By the time this airs, it'll probably be launched, but it might be a soft launch. Who knows? It's bloom.diy. David, what's the best place for people to connect with you personally online?
Yeah, follow me on LinkedIn or Twitter. Those are the platforms that I post on the most. So on Twitter, it's David Alonso. And otherwise, just type in my name on LinkedIn.
And I will put links to both your X and your LinkedIn in the show notes. I'll put links to this coffee app if you want to see my coffee intake. I'm going to put it there, and you guys can check it out. Again, David, thank you so much for joining me.
Of course, it was a pleasure. It was so fun talking about this.
I agree.